Hey friends, welcome back to the Polish Protege. I am Stephanie and I'm gardening in the middle of Michigan in zone 6A. And I am working on some seed starting. That is London. See all that dirt in the floor? That is London's fault. He's in trouble. Oh, bad kitty. Hang on. Look at that innocent face. I didn't do nothing, Mom. He, if you didn't catch my short, went through and dug the dahlia tubers out. I don't know who left the door open. Husband or a kid. I don't know which one to beat, but we lost a dahlia tuber. So I've got 5. But let me show you the cool thing about the dahlias. Here they are. We still have 5 going strong. I thought I had a little bit of a shoot, but look at how this eye is plumping up. Do you see that right there? That is the eye of the dahlia. And pretty soon, something's going to sprout out of there. Look at this one right here. It's gotten a lot bigger too. I'm really excited. I can tell they're doing something. Instinct. The internet, one of those things, is telling me. And rip Myrtle's Folly. I'm so sorry we lost you. Dang cat. Look at him, perched there. This is a good spot, Mom. I'm just looking. I'm not doing nothing. I want to give you a quick peek at the seeds so far. These are all doing good. These are the very first thing we planted is the onions. They're doing great. These tornado ivy geraniums are doing fantastic, even though I planted them a little bit later. And then over here, this is the first tray we started. Get out of there. Over on the end is the celery, which is finally up. Guys, this took so long. Don't give up on your celery. My lavender, my eucalyptus, and the rosemary all coming up. A little bit everywhere. Looking good. I got germination in all those cells. Now the snapdragons, look at this. No, get out of here. The snapdragons are a little bit hit and miss here. These ones that I added here, these apricot snaps, this Potomac berry, and the Chantilly salmon, all I've got is this guy, I think. I'm keeping them really moist. They're not coming through. I'm really not very happy with them. I'm gonna look and see where I ordered these from. I'm a little bit upset with those ones. The stevia, all coming up great. These dahlias, mostly all the cells. Looks like one cell I don't have. I got one coming up here. In this case, there's nothing here, but there's 2 here. I'll just upplant one of those and put it into there so I get a full tray. That's tray number 2. This tray over here is all snaps, and you're going to see, look at so much better germination than those other ones. This is apple blossom. The Rembrandt's a little bit less germination. This Bazaar mix is doing really well. And over on this side, Bronze Dragon, not so great. And Bronze Dragon was the new one this year. It was a little bit expensive, more so than the other ones. I'm not super happy about that. And Orange Wonder's coming up fantastic. What are you doing? Get out of here. Trouble. The next thing we planted, you can see this was the site of the mess. These are those ranunculus corms. And what happened is he came up and he ate them all the ends. So they are looking a little raggedy, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15. I got 16 of them that have come up. I don't know if the other ones are just mad because he attacked them, stressed. I'm not really sure. They did have root growth on them. So right now we're sitting at 16 ranunculus. I also kept that container, remember, of all the ranunculus ones that looked gooey, like the mold had gotten into them, like they've gotten too damp. Nothing's happening with these, which is not surprising to me. I'll probably keep them another week or 2 and then I'll probably throw them outside. And then the last tray we planted was the pepper tray. And I don't have a lot of peppers up, which is not unusual. Oh, look, there's a banana coming up. See him? And I've got a shishito coming up. And then these ones in the end, those 2 nadapenos. I've noticed my nadapenos always kind of come up first. That is not surprising to me, but it is nice to see the pepper starting to pop up. That looks lovely. Next to them, I had some gomphrena. Here's my parsley, which is just starting to come up. Parsley's a lot like celery. Takes a long time to germinate and get moving. I've got 2 rows of parsley. One is a flat and one's a curly. And then the thyme on the end. And I always start my thyme a little early just because I want to get a good sized time bush that I can harvest off of. So it takes a while for them to size up. So this is looking good. So we're kind of up to the point where it's time to do another tray. So it is the very end of February. I have got, let's see here, 9 weeks to my last frost date. And I am going to start any of my cool season crops right now. I was gonna wait until mid-March, but I'm not. I'm not gonna wait till mid-March. I'm gonna go ahead and get those going right now with the intent of making this entire tray cool season crops that I can start putting outside. So I can just take this one tray outside, the entire tray, and start getting it used to cool temps as soon as this winter breaks. And I'm hoping that I can get them planted earlier. Now, this might backfire and these might get too big, but a lot of them are heading crops, and heading crops take longer than other crops. I was only gonna do cabbages, kohlrabi, broccoli type things, but I wanna do a whole tray. So to fill that in, I'm gonna add in my kales and my Swiss chard, and I'm gonna fill whatever space is left with calendula. I have tons of calendula seed. It's very easy to sow just the seed outside as soon as the last frost kind of has passed by. It does really well. It also self-sows seed, so all the spots where I had this last year, it'll come back up again. But I'm gonna go ahead and just add some to this, like I said, to get an entire tray of cool season crops so that I can move them around together in the same kind of climate, if that makes sense. So step number 1 with the new tray, fill it up with soil. These are those bootstrap farmer trays. I really, really like these. I'm very glad that Brent forgot my birthday and I bought myself these for my birthday. Thank you, Brent. They worked out great. Went ahead and I filled these up, watered them down so they're all moist. And I'm going to start making tags and I'm going to label all of them. I've got 12 rows this way that go 6 this way, which I think is a good kind of place to go. I ran out of markers, so I went hunting for plastic things I could make into tags. You can buy these tags. I'll probably buy another box of them just because I've got so few. But for today's sake, I just found an old ruler that belonged to a planner. It's plasticky and bendy, and I'm cutting it up into strips to make labels for these things. So the first 2 I'm going to plant, I'm planting 3 of each of these, and that is the catnip and lemon mint. I have never purposely grown catnip. Catnip does grow fairly well in my area. Look, I want to just show you this real quick. Look at the bottom line, it's typed right. It says overpacked due to low germination rate. So when they were doing this packet at Baker Creek, they had low germination on this, so they overpacked the seed. So that tells me I should put more inside each cell than I think, because it might not germinate well. Sorry, that was just something I thought was interesting that you might want to know. But this grows fairly well here. I don't anticipate having any problems with it as long as I get it to germinate. I could even throw some of this outside, probably a small seed, and have it grow out in the yard. But I would like to get some of this and dry it. I saw on another YouTube channel where there is a guy who grew a giant patch of it, and then he cut it down, dried it all, and then he sold it as catnip for a fundraiser, which was very cool. However, I just want it for my own cats, and I thought that was a great idea to try. Lemon mint. I love isn't that a pretty flower on there, that lemon flower? Mint is one of those things that grows by runners. So this is something that I will go ahead, again, real small, tiny seeds. This is something that will take over a garden bed because it runs underground. Mint, they sometimes call it the bully of the garden. So I am going to make sure that I plant that in pots or in a place where it can't go far, so it does not worm its way into other parts of my garden. Next thing I'm going to plant is this Sicily, called Purple of Sicily, cauliflower. Isn't that beautiful? I got some of these last year. If you go back and look maybe in the June or July garden videos from last year, I harvested some of this. It was just beautiful. And my daughter really likes it. So they're little round seeds. A lot of these cool season crops look like this. They're a little bit bigger than the ones we were just playing with. And they're round. I'm going to plant most cells with one, but here and there, if one gets two, that's okay. And if I happen to have spotty germination, I can always pop an extra one up. That's the only cauliflower I'm going to do this year. I don't do great with cool season crops because here in Michigan, you can never tell what your spring's going to be like. So I might get an early spring and it might stay cool for a while, or it might flip from winter over to summer in a heartbeat and everything might bolt. So I don't put a lot of stock in these, but I like to grow a couple and kind of see what happens. Next, I'm going to do the Spring Rob Rapini. Rapinis are just smaller offshoots. So I'm not going to get a giant head on this. I'm going to get one that has little like florets coming off of it. And I made this choice on purpose for that reason that I just mentioned. My springs are unreliable. I don't really know how spring's going to go. And I have a better chance of these little ones not bolting than a big head bolting. So that's kind of why I'm doing these ones. Okay, I just planted these 3 rows. These are my kales. I did red Russian kale. This is kind of a raggedy kale. It's got really pretty purple big stalks with leaves in the end that are kind of smaller. Got this curly dwarf blue. I like this one. It's more like a traditional kale. And then this one right here is called scarlet kale. The whole thing is this really beautiful, vibrant purple. It's gorgeous. And I love these 3 planted together. I love picking them all together. Chickens like it. I can never have too much kale. Not that my kids love it too much, but you can make kale chips, all kinds of things. Then I'm going to go plant my cabbages. I'm doing 2 cabbages. I'm doing this Tete Noir, which is a nice, tight, smaller head red cabbage. And then this is the Copenhagen Market cabbage. It's going to be the big one that I'm going to do. Our next row is kohlrabi, which is this crazy alien-looking vegetable that I got as a free seed from Baker Creek a while ago, and I've grown it ever since. This whole ball part grows out of the ground. So right here where it's kind of discolored, that and the roots grow under. And you get this big crazy ball part with all these branches growing above. Why do I like it so much? It's different. I can use it as the same way I would use kind of cabbage. I make a kohlrabi slaw out of this, and it's just fun. It grows well for me. So I'm going to go ahead and grow 6 of those too. Same thing. It's got these little round seeds. They're very, very common to these cool season brassica type crops. And I am growing 1 or 2 in a cell. And if both come up, I can just use it in place of a cell that maybe did not germinate. Or I can just thin it out. Or knowing me, I can put it in a different pot and grow a side one because that's how I do things, right? And then rainbow Swiss chard. I grow Swiss chard for 2 reasons, mainly. Oh, first let me show you Swiss chard seeds. They're super funky looking. Can you see that? They're multi-seeds, so they've got, they just look, it looks like we chewed on them kind of, actually. I don't know how the camera's going to pick that up. But rainbow chard, one, I grow them because they're gorgeous, okay? They look beautiful in the garden. Like, imagine seeing a giant plant with all these beautiful stalks and all the leaves in the plants have these really beautiful colors running through them. They look like they're a flower that's supposed to be there. I love them. The second reason I grow them is that they are a trap crop. Now, trap crops are crops that you grow that you don't care so much about, but that the insects go to. So insects, especially earwigs for me, love this chard. I'll put it in the middle of my garden. They will go ahead and attack it, and they will leave my other crops alone, but the new growth will still look beautiful. So that's kind of how I use it. I have taken these stems and chopped them and pickled them before, but we're not huge. I'll put a couple leaves here and there into a salad. We're not huge chard fans. Right, these are calendula seeds. They're kind of like a C shape. They actually remind me of like a curled up dead worm, which I know is disgusting, but that's what it is. But that's the pretty flower. It's a curled up dead worm that turns into a beautiful calendula flower. These are fantastic. I've got 2 rows here at the end of my thing. I'm going to plant these. Calendula will always have a place in my garden because they are a beautiful border plant. I put them on the edges. They also give off a scent. They're in the marigoldish kind of family. They give off a scent to deter things like rabbits and ground animals that might come and attack my garden. Calendula is also a really powerful herb. Those flowers can be soaked in oils, and that oil is going to give off properties that are very, very good for the skin. They're like antiseptic and anti-inflammatory. So they're made of a lot of skincare products for your face or for sensitive skin. You can use them as skin treatment to make balms and salves in case you get cuts or things on your skin. They're just a lot of uses for them. All right, I got them tucked up here on the top shelf. Let's hope my monster cats leave them alone and we get some really fun, cool season crops sprouting quickly. Okay, if we're keeping track, that is my 6th official tray, 7th tray, if you consider my dahlia experiment a tray of their own. 7th tray. And there is green in the basement, and life is good, and spring is so close, friends. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.